What's up? Today we are going over Prescott Valley market stats. It is June 2025. The data for last month, May, is hot off the press. This will be the first time I'm coming at you this year going over Prescott Valley market stats. So we'll recap what's happened from January to now. So without further ado, before we dive into it, as you can see by my awesome thumbnail here, seller's market? I don't know. Is it? Well, that's the question we're going to be answering today. Some numbers say it is, and it doesn't really feel like it. So let's dive into that and answer that question. Is it a seller's market or is it not a seller's market right now in Prescott Valley, Arizona? All right. All right, diving into the first set of stats here, we are talking about the number of homes for sale on the market right now. I'm going to be looking over here at the stats, so let's just check it out. You can follow my cursor here. 346 is how many were on the market at the end of May, and that is the highest we've seen in Prescott Valley since 2021. So it actually beat last year. We were at 251 in May of last year, and we've jumped all the way up to 346. So that is good news and bad news. That is good news if you are a buyer. That means more homes are coming out there, going on market, are going to be available for you to choose from. You got a little bit more choice now than you've had, really since before COVID. And if you're a seller, that means you have more competition on the market, and that's not quite the best news to hear right now. So moving forward, we're talking about supply in months. So what we look at as real estate professionals is called supply in months. That means we take that last number that was the total homes on market. We divide it by how many homes actually sold that month, which we'll go over that in a future slide. And that gives us our supply in months, which turned out to be 4.1, which is up. So if we look at the beginning of the year, we were at 3 months of supply. It's been trickling up ever since. We're at 4.1 months of supply. So right now we're on an upward trend. Just for reference, a quote-unquote balanced real estate market is going to be between 5 and 7 months of supply. Or you can go this way if you want, 5 and 7. And we're at 4.1. So if you're looking at just this metric alone, that is saying that we are in a seller's market in Prescott Valley. Some of the other numbers will not align with that information, but anyways, that's what you need to know right now, is that according to supply in months, we are in a seller's market. Next stat that we're going to look at right now is the sales price. We look at median sales price, not average sales price. If you don't know the difference, pause this video right now, go on over to Google or your favorite AI, ask them what's the difference between median and average. It'll give you a better explanation than I will. We look at median, not the average. And yes, I do know the difference. I'm just not going to waste the time to explain it. So $475,000 was the median sales price last month in May, which is a dead match to the month before in April. And in March, it was at $480. So Prescott Valley, your values are staying pretty consistent right now. I mean, look, 480, 475, 475. That's a pretty solid trend line. So one interesting piece of data, though, is that particularly the month of May, we hit a new record. $475,000 for the median sales price. Well, going back to 2021, that's the highest we've hit. Before that it was 22, which the market was red hot. Interest rates were way down. We're not going to talk about interest rates on this on this live today, but if you want to talk about interest rates, you can always hit me up. Shoot me a message, comment below, or call me on the number below. I'll be happy to talk to you about rates. But yeah, back to this, $475,000. So good job, Prescott Valley. A new high record median sales price. And we're up 7.7% year over year, which last year was $441,000 median sales price. So prices are up from last year, but holding steady right now over the last 3 months. Unlike Phoenix, which I've heard and seen the stats that it is going down. Prices are dropping unless you're in a specific pocket of Phoenix that doesn't having that happen. The majority of the area, prices are starting to go down. Homes sold. So this is the other half of that data that we look at in order to get the supply in months. This is the number of sales that occurred last month. So we were at 98 last month, which is down from 2024, which is at 108. So 10 sales less in Prescott Valley this year versus last year. So sales cooling a little bit, maybe. Let's look at the trend line from the beginning of the year. January was in the toilet, 47, which was the lowest we've had for number of sales in the last 5 years in Prescott Valley. February bumped up a bit, still lowest in the last 5 years. March, we caught a little bit of steam, a little bit of energy was going, and just beat last year at 87 versus 83. April stalled out a little bit, 88. It's only one more sale in April than March. And May, we bumped up to 98, which is still worse than last year, but it's not lower. It's not slower than 23. So we'll see what happens. Let me know what you think is going to happen with sales this year in the comments. Is it, they're going to go up, or are they going to flatten out, or are they going to go down? So seasonality in Prescott Valley, for those of you on YouTube watching, you can see the trend line here. May, June, July, August. It's typically pretty flat. I mean, with the exception of 21, which was just on fire the whole time, and 22, which we had a little bit of a roller coaster drop here due to interest rates going up. But really what you're going to look at is 23, 24, 25. Rates have been, 6-7% since, sometimes a little over 7%. But anyways, said we weren't going to talk about interest rates. Just message me for that. Moving on. Sold to list percentage ratio. What this is this tells us what is the average discount that sellers are giving to buyers off of the current price on the market, not the initial price that they started with, but the price that they're currently at when the offer is written. So last month we were at 98.5% for what the house sold for versus what it was last listed for. And that means a 1.5% discount off of list price. And if you take in the median sales price times 1.5%, that gives us the average discount in Prescott Valley for last month, May 2025, was $7,125. So good to know if you're a buyer, good to know if you're a seller. Days on market. So this is one that is, to me, let me go over first and then I'll tell you why I think this is an indicator that we need to be watching. So this year has been pretty flat for us in Prescott Valley. We started off the year at 61, went up to 65, 68, down to 61 in April, back up to 65 in May. If you look at the trend lines for the last 2 years, so we're talking 23 and 24, when rates were the same as they are now, we started higher. 23 dipped a bit and then picked up some steam and then dipped again and dipped again and dipped again. And 24 was higher than we were for the whole year until May, and then it dipped in June, leveled back off in July, August, September, October, started going up, dipped again. The dips mean buyers entering the market, so houses were selling quicker those times. We always have seasonality up here. We get snow. People from out of town that don't like snow don't come shop in the snow. It's funny. Those of us who live here, it doesn't bother us. And if it does, we move to other places and we wouldn't be here. So yeah, anyways, doesn't bother me. We're not seeing the dip. That's the point I'm getting at right now, is we are not seeing the dip. If anything, it jumped up from April to May. So is this trend line going to keep increasing here? If it does, that means more time on market. Houses are sitting longer. They're going to start discounting the price. because they're going to be more motivated to sell because they're tired of paying a mortgage for a house they're not sitting in for two or more months, and that could cause prices to come down some. So we've got inventory is building, we've got days on market is increasing, prices have been flat, so that's not a leading indicator right there. But with those two, that's why I scratch my head when I say, is this really a seller's market? I don't think it is. I think the data says it is because we were in such a pit. We were in such a hole of lack of inventory, but we're not now. We're starting to build back up, and we're starting to see a surplus month after month after month. Inventory's going up, up, up. I think we're already to the point to where we're in a balanced market in Prescott Valley, even though the months of supply doesn't say that. I wouldn't say we are in a complete buyer's market yet. We're not seeing fire sales. We're not seeing that kind of crazy stuff with big discounts and people giving houses away because they have so much competition that they can't sell them. But it definitely feels a lot more challenging this year so far to sell a house in Prescott Valley than it has in the years past. So take that for what you will. Let me know what you think, and we'll move on from here. So that's it for our real estate market update. Thank you so much for watching. I just kind of went over my thoughts, my summary. I'll just hit it again real quick. I don't think we are in a seller's market, even though the months of supply is below 5% or 5%, as below 5 months of supply in the fours. So statistically speaking, we're in a seller's market. We're not. It's a balanced market right now in Prescott Valley. And if we keep building inventory like we are, we're going to be in a buyer's market in a couple months. That's my prediction. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not an economist. I'm just an agent, boots on the ground here in the area for the Quad Cities. So if you have any real estate questions or needs up here in Northern Arizona at all, specifically Prescott Valley, Prescott, Chino Valley, Dewey Humboldt, Paulden, any of these areas, I can even help you out if you're in Flagg, Williams, Sedona, or the Verde Valley. My name is Brent Wofford. I'm a licensed real estate agent with Keller Williams Arizona Realty, and this has been a good time. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next month for the next update. Until then, I hope you have a rad day.